Don't blink, it's your boy Yink. Welcome back to the show. Just doing well, having a wonderful day on this 15 July 2025. You guys, today we're doing a special video, and I am so excited about this. Now, technically speaking, this is not a reaction. We did a lot of reaction lately. I was thinking about doing reaction to this specific video. Nice little mosquito killed. Sorry, my love. Sorry, my heart. I was thinking about doing a reaction, but then it's kind of convoluted. So today is July 15th. We're gonna do a special video. I'm super excited because I like talking about history, right? So I live in an old town. It's a small town, but it has a lot of history. I like talking about it. I like about kind of the story of my life, story of gaming, shit like that. But I've never, and I mean ever, talk about a historical moment on YouTube. And drumroll please, the moment that we're talking about is the 15th July 2025. Whoa, I don't know what it is. July 15. I don't know what it is. What year was it? Well, it was 2018. Yeah, because we were working. So today we're talking about Fusi Con, which is kind of like cool because we're gonna go in a sort of a story track. Now, just the recap. First of all, I've been reacting to a lot of videos lately, so I'm not done with the reaction. I'm not tired of it, but I don't want my content to only be that, right? Second of all, it'll be a little bit of a mental. It's a little bit of a mental exercise to come back to reaction. Most of the content I could find to react to was from haters, from clown, from drama alert. So a lot of those things, they were against Fusi a little bit. Now, I'm not an historian, right? This was important for me for a couple of reasons, which we're gonna get into a little bit later on, if I'm being honest. But it's just one of my favorite things on YouTube. Why? Well, first of all, right, I started working on the 18th July 2028, 3 days after this event happened. My first day at the longest job that I had, which was 8 years, which is closed right now, sadly. I would still be there otherwise. The longest, the first day of work that I had, I listened to Fusi 2, Nazareth Reality. Now, before we start, what's important? Well, again, first day I'm working, I'm gonna take this. Second of all, it was technically speaking the first YouTube documentary I ever saw. Now with the streaming, I can do a lot of it in the back of my mind or in background. By the way, if you didn't notice yet, I'm not English. I'm always translating. This is why my speech is so weird. Thank you for noticing. Why is Fusi important to me? Fusi is important to me because we share the same birthday. I was born 22nd January 2025. I don't know its year, but it's 22 January. I'm 22 January 1993. We have the same birthday. When you look at the celebrities on my birthday, he's the most relatable one. Why is it? Was I ever a fan of Fusi? See, Fusi was weird because I was watching shit like Angry Grandpa. I was watching shit like Make Jugger and Guts. When I started watching YouTube, then there was always this romantic path with Frank versus girlfriend versus boyfriend. And if you really had to know the lore, I'm gonna say something that I don't mean as a bad thing. Something with Frank, a shadow like Frank versus girlfriend. You really had to follow the show. Not the show, but the different videos, right? Or, for example, also YouTube at that time was a lot of skits. For example, one of the most popular channel at that time was freaking Epic Mealtime. And Epic Mealtime was a video for 10 minutes, right? Completely unrelated. Romana Atwood was more so vlogging content, so you could watch them, right? And then one of the only one I would watch was Fusi. Now, why did I watch Fusi? Because Fusi was different. Fusi was going to be, he's living in a homeless person. He constantly had a struggle between this fame and this normalcy. My personal issue was a struggle between good and evil. I was raised very differently. My mom, which is super kind, my father, which is sort of an honest asshole. Super nice, super kind, a good dude. However, if he doesn't like you, he's gonna tell you, I don't like you. My mom's like, I'm not gonna not talk to you. My father's like, fuck you, I don't like you. So, in my childhood, I was stuck in between. When I had my father, who has a lot of success in life and he's very respected, or my mom, who is beloved. What do I want? The respect or the love? Which again was a situation of evil versus good. Love is good. Respect sometimes is evil. You don't respect your. You respect somebody because they're successful. You don't love them because they're successful, right? So Fusi was that, and then, but ultimately speaking, I didn't really follow him. He was entertaining for a couple of videos. Now Fusi was actually one of the most important person, in my opinion, on my YouTube history. Why? Well, first of all, he was this guy that was watching, that started exposing prank content, how fake it was and how everything was faked. Now I, as a young watcher, we're talking about 14, 15, was victim of bullying. So this whole story of prank to me was like, holy shit, this is not good, because the famous is just a prank, bro. Fuck you. So I was like, no, fuck that. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of this whole mentality of pranking a complete random stranger, right? So by exposing that, you kind of put a dent, because everybody was doing that. Everybody was doing that. Fake drama, Rice Gum, Logan Paul, people like that, right? And then you kind of exposed it, and I was like, okay, well, this is super refreshing. This is low-key, high-key refreshing. Then, this was at my parents' house. Then I moved out of my parents' house, and I lived at my mom's house. So my dad was the person that raised me. My mom raised me also, but my mom had me 2 days out of 12, 2 days out of 14. So my father was the person that was in charge of everything. So I go to my mom's house. My mom's house is very much of a lovely mother, but very enabling. You want to eat 4 slices of pizza, Steph? No problem. Which is why I got super fat. So I come in the apartment, and I'm like, okay, well, my mom is a slave to her work. My father isn't a slave to his work. My mom was a slave to her work because she was the person that you rely on. Hey, it's this person's birthday. When can you pick up the cake? My mom doesn't drive. Can you pick up the cake? Bro, I'm not fucking driving. How am I supposed to take the cake? But she was so nice to say no. So I go to my mom's house. In my mom's house, I get a lot of weight. So my mom, again, a slave. My father was the same thing, but worse. My father had a mentality of a 9 to 5, but he was so proud of his job, so proud of his work, that he kept on talking about his work. So I was like, dude, you're at home. Talk about the family, not talk about work. You know, so my father, just like me, was very vocal, so very much of a talker. Now, the problem with that is that it was a case of, I thought both of my parents, and I was like, they aren't living to work, they aren't working to live, they're living to work. I'm like, fuck no. This isn't me. This shouldn't be you, but it's not me. So I got home, right? And I'm broke. When I say broke, I'm not broke. I have $2,700 in the bank. My rent is $475. I buy food from Dollarama. I swear to God. I watch manga on an application where you can download manga. I am listening to the radio. I am playing emulator. Why? Because this allowed me to take a full year off my sabbatical years before I started really working. And I had enough money. I never had to work one day. And then, guess what I did? I had a gym. My whole life was gym. And I got back into shape. Now, here's a crazy story. I buy this phone, right? And this is my first real phone. It's a Sony Xperia V2. And I'm downloading freaking videos, and I'm learning Rich Piana and everything like that because, again, I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with losing weight. I'm obsessed with weightlifting. At the time, my goal is to be a bodybuilder. I'm 20 years old. So my entire watch history is Rich Piana. Rich Piana was a god to me. Why? He was swearing, he was tattooed. He was everything I wanted to be. I was watching the Arch Twin because the Arch Twin was just funny. They were just fucking funny. And then we had Fusi. And I remember Fusi and I was like, holy shit. And Fusi did like, oh, I lost a lot of weight. And I'm like, dude, this is actually what I'm trying to do. And I knew we had the same birthday. So I'm like, holy shit. This is my motivation. So I started following Fusi. Then again, I lose Fusi. I lose sight of Fusi because the problem with Fusi is that he's inconsistent. He'll work fucking hard for 1 year, post videos twice, 4 times a day, but he'll disappear. Now, I want you guys to understand something. I don't have Wi-Fi at home, so the whole of 15 July 2025, I have no clue. I'm gonna say no clue. I mean no clue what the fuck they are talking about. I have no freaking clue. In my mind, it's a normal day until I start seeing something. And this, you're not gonna believe how crazy of a story this is. You're just not gonna believe this, because this is easily one of the craziest stories ever. I have this job. At that time, I'm working, like I said, I'm working for this company that I worked for a while, but at that time, I'm working for an agency. So the agency sent me there, and I know that I'm not there to make friends because the agency is sending me to a different place. One day, on Monday, I'm working at this place. On Tuesday, I'm working at this place. So because I'm only there for a little bit of time, what I start doing is I start downloading music. And I'm like, oh, holy shit, this 15th of July, I have no clue what this is. And I'm seeing an hour and a half documentary on it. Now, again, this is my first documentary ever. I watched it 3-4 times. The same fucking day. And I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast. And this is why this was so freaking important to me. Because it was, again, it was just a person I knew, a person that, see, Fusi without really being, without it being something that he wanted to do, is a porte-parole in French, is a role model or role figure of something called mental health, right? He's representing of a lot of people with mental health. And he's like, yo, I'm going to be your voice. I'm going to be your fucking voice, right? And people are like, okay, well, that's so nice to him, right? So when you have mental issues, the name Fusi comes up, which is a good thing because you can tell that if he was able to lose the weight, he does have some mental capacity. He is smart, right? So then he does that. And then, at first, I'm hearing his version, which is the premise, which is, and this is going to be very, very special. This is going to be very special. I'm hearing the premise of wanting to bring peace. And I'm like, wow, that's a cool fucking message, dude. You should be proud of yourself for that, right? But there's a couple of things that comes in. Now, the couple of things that comes in are super important. There are a lot of people that I don't fucking know. I don't know who Sam Pepper is. I don't know who Shane Dawson is. I know. I know who Keemstar is because, again, those guys I was listening to a lot of AGP, right? And AGP was Michael Green, and Michael Green was a close friend of Keemstar, so he talked about Jabba Alert a lot. There you go, killed a mosquito. I knew I was feeling something and I didn't know where till it stuck its teeth in me. So yeah, so this was low-key, high-key important. I don't know who these people are, so I'm kind of rooting for Fusi. I'm like, you guys are such asshole. What he's doing is actually pretty nice, and you're fucking it up by being assholes to him. Right? Now, the reality is Fusi was the asshole. Fusi was the asshole not because he wanted to, but because he was in a manic episode. The manic episode was You want to do good, but at the same time, you need to be stopped. You need to be stopped, right? Even the premise in itself, promoting his song, which is a diss track about Rice Gum, which at the time is the king of diss track. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What the fuck are you doing? And then I'm watching the documentary, and I feel so fucking bad because they reveal that what happened was Fousey had a show, and the show barely got people to go. He got like I think he got like 1,000 or 3,000 or 2,000 people to go to his event, which again I want you guys to remember, Fousey is a big name. Fousey being a big name should get more views than just that. Something, I'm not gonna say what, went wrong. Now, if I was to say what's wrong, non-consistency. You have people that are grinding. You have people like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, which at that time are fucking fighting KSI and Deji. They're doing some huge shit. You know? You see the difference? Fousey, which again is a compliment. Fousey was a good friend of Roman Atwood. Roman Atwood did something completely different. Completely different. He took a step back, started a podcast, include his kids and the thing. Like, I'm just a cool dad. Fousey was like, no, I'm gonna continue. I want to be the biggest fucking star. And yeah, the Manic episode. Now, the Fousey thing, we're gonna get into that right now. I think it's phenomenal. So first of all, the event. Fousey did an event. Okay, so what went wrong? I'm gonna tell you what went wrong, but at the same time, I'm gonna tell you, do we go positive? First? We'll go positive first. The idea behind it was really good. The idea behind it was like, I want us to do a free show to stop all hate, which is really fucking good. We love that, right? At the same time, he was gonna have artists, and I'm talking about big artists. Now, he was talking about Drake. Oh, I'm gonna get Drake. Of course, he wasn't gonna get Drake. He never met Drake. However, one of those guys, fucking Mosquito City, right? One of those guys was whom? Was Dax. Dax wasn't popular back then. And now, I think it's huge. To me, Dax is as big as Tom McDonald, right? They're both super big artists. So with Dax being there, it's kind of like a cool thing. Then he has this venue, which is a Greek theater, which is again super important to me because my favorite movie is Get Him to the Greek with Jonah Hill and Russell Brand. One of my favorite movie. I think this movie is hilarious, but also very meaningful. So I'm like, holy shit, this is something. Now, what went wrong? Fousey kind of saw too big. He was too stressed. He thought it was going to be the most of the year. Fousey's biggest flaw, the biggest mistake that he did, he was late. This is supposed to be meaning the world to you, and you come in like an hour late. You know? You have a person like Tana who does the TanaCon, right? TanaCon, and I was young. Tana was young. She made mistakes. It happens. Fousey had a team behind him. He had people behind him, right? And then at the same time, the July 15th, what went even worse is that he had a person called Keemstar. And I'm not a protector of Keemstar. Oh, are you kidding me? Dude, the phone was up for a couple seconds. Already too hot. What in the fuck? So Keemstar, do I like Keemstar? No. Okay, so do I like Keemstar? By principle, no. By principle, Drama Alert it's super convoluted. Drama Alert is actually a great show. It's a great thing. So it was a lot of bullshit. Okay. But it gave YouTube a news station, which it didn't have. It gave YouTube credibility, which they didn't have. And a part of YouTube growing, there was Keemstar. a lot of content creator, one part of YouTube growth. I love Casey Neistat. What do you do for YouTube? I love Epic Meal Time. Are they still on YouTube, you know? Food's one of the only one that's still there. So Keemstar also is one of the only one that's still there. So then what happened is Keemstar goes in, and Keemstar and Fousey have history because Keemstar don't like Fousey and Fousey don't like Keemstar. So they have history. Now Fousey did the worst thing ever. Now this could be Manic episode, right? Which is shifting the blame, which is I believe I believe I have the delusion of grandeur. So if I have the delusion of grandeur that everything I'm doing is right? Everything, listen to this. I have this delusion of grandeur which puts me above everybody else, which means that everything I'm doing is right. You understand that, right? Yeah. So he shifts the blame upon Keemstar, and he tells Keemstar, you bully me, you bully me, you bully me. And then he said the biggest meme, sadly, you make me want to kill myself, which is horrible. And I don't wish that upon everybody. But at the same time, your show is about love and peace. You have the biggest chance of taking your biggest hater, which is Keemstar, and saying, I forgive you, brother. And you don't do it. Was Keemstar wrong? Yes. Was Fousey wrong that day? Yes. See, Keemstar documented the whole thing. Now, Keemstar documented the whole thing. Oh, and I'm so sorry. Why I don't dislike Keemstar as much as I should. See, for Keemstar, for what he did, was wrong. The whole thing with HGH3, Keemstar went kind of a bit too far. You know? Well, I like Keemstar. Keemstar did a lot for small content creator. People were calling him, saying, dude, I have this problem, can you help me out? Keemstar, which wasn't employees of YouTube, would help people more than the employees of YouTube, which is wrong. Keemstar also has a museum of YouTube. He has a lot of golden plaque. He cares about this. He cares about it. Is Keemstar morally wrong? I don't think so. I think he saw a job as an opportunity. How many journalists are fucking hated? Keemstar was a journalist. Was Keemstar the best human being of the year? No. But you know what? Keemstar might have not cared about the beef or drama he was creating. He cared about the website, care about the platform. And then you have people that are super nice human beings, but don't give a shit about anybody but themselves. I'd rather have an asshole that cares than a good guy that don't care. I'm sorry. So was Keemstar right? I think he was right. But in this moment, this is the important part about the July 15th. This is the important part about the July 15th. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about who make, and this is going to be a super expression that I'm of course stealing, but it makes a lot of sense in this one. Was Keemstar wrong? Yes. Was Fousey wrong? Yes. So why do I think Fousey was more wrong? Because Fousey made the biggest ripple. So you have this puddle, right? This puddle. And you tell the kid, don't jump in it. Do not jump in it. Right? The first kid jumps in it. My apologies. Right? The second kid, he's nowhere to be found. He comes back and he has rain boots. And he has a fucking poncho. Like a rain poncho. And he jumps in the water. Now there's two kids. They both disobey. One of them is dripping wet from head to toes. The other one is dry. Who are you more mad about? The kid that is wet, of course. That's just a simple matter of facto. Fousey did the biggest ripple. Right? And it sucked. Because the moments, and the problem with the event wasn't the bomb threat. So what happened is there's a bomb threat. So people say that Fousey did it because Fousey saw that the event was going to be a failure. Because not a lot of people showed up. Because what happened is a lot of people didn't believe that it was true. They didn't show up. Right? So then Fousey saw it as a failure, and a lot of people said, like I said, he went to Australia. He saw that he was one of the biggest YouTuber at one point, and then he had a problem filling up a showroom. He was afraid of that, so he called him the bomb threat itself. Do I think he did it? It's complex. It's complex. I think it's very complex. He invited people that were hating him. And you can actually say that the people that were hating him could have done it, right? What I think happened is that Fousey freaked out. And he's like, I have to stop this. I don't know how I'm going to stop this. I have to stop this. And I think that one of his people calling the bomb threat. And then one of his people was like, yo, Fousey won't know that I called. So Fousey will blame people that he hates before he blames me. Now the problem is, again, if Fousey start talking to people saying, you called him the bomb threat, bro, which is not true. So Fousey once again looks crazy, and his whole message of peace is nonsensical. The truth is, even though it wasn't as big as he wanted, it was still a show. It was still a success. It wasn't the success that you wanted, but it's still a success. You just didn't allow it to completely bloom. That's a problem. That's a mistake. Okay, first of all. Second of all, which is also super, super, super important, is that he went on an interview and he did like 2 weeks of interview. And he was like, yo, what happened there was destroying. This is fucking awful. And then what did Fousey did? Disappeared. Was Fousey Khan the worst thing to ever happen on YouTube? No. Was it close to being the worst thing on YouTube? No. But it destroyed the person. And then Fousey came back years later. And he went on IRL stream. And another one. And he went on a rampage. IRL. Unkicked. For sure an asshole. He did some horrible thing. I think Fousey became a villain. Right? And then once again, everything that he did right now, and right now, the problem with Fousey is exactly what's going on right now. Last year was one of the most popular content creators because every single day he did something crazy. He did something crazy. And then he realized how much wrong he's done. So what he did was he went on a weight loss journey. And he lost a lot of weight. And what happened with that is that now he's doing motivational content. And it's always this highs and lows and highs and lows and highs and lows. But the principles stay the same. Like it or not, the 15th of July will always be a date in social media history that has to do with that. Can you name me something else that happened the 15th of July? No. So this is it. This is my perception of the thing. I don't have an opinion because it was so long ago, right? And whatever I say is completely meaningless because it's something that happened so long ago. But at the same time, I think it's kind of important because knowing the history. See, I was talking about how Keemstar was rightfully and saying that he I meant it when I said that Keemstar was rightfully so when he started doing the museum because nobody else did it. Nobody else did it. And when you go to a museum, some of the things in the museum, and I'm sorry to say, nobody cares about. Right? But it still happened. 15th of July still happened. I think the whole thing is pretty sad. Because the intention were good. But at the same time, you can have the best intention. If you change nothing, if you say tomorrow, oh, I'm going to change the world, and you don't do it, then they say intention. And intention can only buy you a good. I think the real question isn't that. I think the real question is, if Fousey wasn't manic, would he if Fousey wasn't manic, would he have done that? Would he have done the whole show? I don't know. My problem also with Fousey, and to finish that, because it's already a long video, my biggest problem with Fousey is people like Adam Saleh, people like Tyler Perry. It's people like Roman Atwood. People like Vitaly. Vitaly's an asshole. Don't get me wrong, he's an asshole. But all of these people, at one point or the other, worked with Fousey. And at one point or the other, they broke their relationship, they broke the friendship with Fousey. See, if you're in a room full of people, and a couple of people say you're an asshole, it's not a big deal. If you're in a room full of people, and the whole room is saying that you're an asshole, you're an asshole. You know? And then, at the same time, I felt so bad because the first thing that he did after that, and again, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul at all. That's not true. That's not true. I was a fan of his vlogs. I thought it was funny. Yeah. It was cringe, but it was funny also. They did all those scams. The Forest, horrible. The scam, worse. Like, fuck you. But the first thing that Fousey did after the whole thing, he came back after a year and did a podcast with Logan Paul. And then Logan let something slip that is important. He let something slip that was important. Fousey was the one that asked or offered to do an interview. So he kind of used the platform of Logan Paul. Then Bradley Martin, who has the podcast of Raw Talk, said the same thing. Fousey was the one that said something. I always have the problem with self-promotion. I always have the problem with someone asking to be on your podcast. If I'm inviting you, I'm inviting you. Now, of course, there's another thing where, for example, there's this big star, and they're saying, hey, they're a fan of you, and they're the agents. Say, oh, they're a fan of you, and if you wanted to invite them, you'd be open to, you know. But again, I've been building my channel for 4 years. People have used me, people have did that. And nobody hates it. Nobody likes a user. Anyway, I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.